We are all born whole. We're born confident in who we are, and we're born knowing we belong here. From the first breath we take, our parents celebrate us. They celebrate our first step, our first word, our first face plant into the mud. They tell us that we're special because we're different and we're individual and we're nuanced. When we're little, the thing that makes us the most important thing in the world is that there's only one of us. A single one of us. We learn about the world and we carry the weight of the world as we move through it. But when we're small, the only weight we carry is hunger every once in a while or maybe a dirty diaper. In fact, if anybody was going to go for a nudie run on a beach in the middle of summer, it's a toddler, right? Or maybe my ex-husband. Rugby boys, right? The reason that we can walk through the world knowing ourselves as small people is because we are born whole and imperfect. When I was 4 years old, my mom and dad signed me up to play softball in our local softball league with the 5-year-olds. Not only because I was taller, but I should tell you all that my dad played professional baseball for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So before I could even put one foot in front of the other, I could throw a ball, catch a pop fly, and swing a bat like nobody's business. Throughout the first season, I can remember how scared I was before it started, and that fear dissipated because I wasn't afraid of learning the rules of the game of softball. I didn't know the rules of the game of life yet and how to interact with people. What I found was pretty darn cool. I was amazed. I was just stuck in curiosity and wonderment in watching my friends play. Some of my friends were so fast it was ridiculous. Me, I would stand up to the plate, and every single time, regardless of whether I made contact or not, there were a lot of whiffs, I would just swing for the back. I would swing for the fences. And after an entire season, I won an award. I won the entire league's award as the youngest person as the little slugger. Long live the little slugger. High socks, short shorts, really bad California tan, really bad California tan. Bruised shins, skinned knees, and I could outpace most of the boys. Man, I was comfortable in my own skin. The world was my oyster. It was fantastic. Through school, primary, middle school, high school, I started to dig into what it was that I was so fascinated with in this world about others. And it always came back to that sense. It was our confidence. It was our inbuilt light. Me personally, beyond sports, I learned to love music. And in fact, I fell in love with Elton John. It's crazy, but it's true. And I learned to play a lot of different instruments because of it. I learned to write lyrics, and I learned to dive deep into who I was. When I left high school, I left the home I'd spent every single night of my childhood in. My parents threw all of my stuff in a car. They drove me 4 hours north to Santa Barbara. They dropped me in a dorm room that was empty and bare, and they said, "Have at it, kid. The world's your oyster." For 4 years, I learned from Nobel laureates and tenured professors, and I dove very deep into the things that really, really captured my attention, and so did the people around me. Even at 18, 19, 20 years old, we were curiously confident. We walked through the world as if we knew who we were. Fast forward to graduation, my mom's family from Missouri flew out to California to celebrate, and my dad's family from LA drove up the 2 hours to Santa Barbara. Now, I remember two parts of graduation day. First of all, one thing you should know about me, I remember my entire life through the food I ate. So the first thing I remember is we were at a sushi restaurant called Something's Fishy. None of us had the sashimi. The second thing I remember is that instead of people coming up to me and saying, "Congratulations, kid, the world's your oyster," it was a different conversation this time. It was as if the world had stopped and pivoted and a door had opened. Instead of "Congratulations, the world's your oyster, kid," it was, "Hey, welcome to adulthood." I didn't know what that meant. When I was told, when we're all told when we're young that the world is our oyster, we go out and we think if we work hard enough and we do the mahi, we'll be able to reap the rewards. But what I found out very, very quickly was that to be successful in the adult world meant we had to be somebody that wasn't the person we were. We had to live up to ideals and expectations of other people's building. We had to play by rules that we didn't write. We all play by rules we didn't write. I was told that if I was going to be successful, I needed to eye up a few milestones. I needed to put a foot on the rung of the proverbial ladder, and I needed to climb. No faster than anyone else, no skipping a rung. This is how we did it. This is how our grandparents did it. This is how their parents did it before them. It's just how things are done. Fuck. That is not what I wanted to do. My plan with life was to get a really good job, to have a career. I wanted to play tambourine for Elton John. I mean, rocking with the Rocket Man, shaking what my mama gave me, and shaking the tambourine. It's a thing. But instead, I got married very young. At 23, I got married. At 24, I had a baby. And at 25, I moved to New Zealand. We had rent to pay, and we had a mouth to feed. So I played the game. I played that game. I straightened my curly hair. I left my Doc Martens at home. I put on heels. Instead of going out into the world without makeup, I started to put on a little bit of war paint. And when I was told to be quiet, I waited until I was spoken to. And I was told there was a boys' night out, I quietly went back as the girl to the office. And I played the game for 10 years, and I climbed that ladder the way I was supposed to. I ticked all the bloody boxes, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at all. After building my career for 10 years and kind of cultivating a pretty cool little personal brand while this thing called social media grew and was born and bubbled away, I landed my dream job. My dream job. If there was a pinnacle, I'd reached it, at least in my own head. What I'd become in my own head was an inextricable version of my title. I couldn't separate who I was from words on a piece of paper that someone else had written. I see that now, but I didn't then. When I walked into said dream job, it only took a week for me to be hauled into somebody's office, a senior leader, who sat across from the table from me and said, "So, this personal brand, this public speaking, this Twittering, it's a risk. You are a risk." Holy shit. Everything I'd done ever in my life was built on a foundation of kindness and of giving. And I'm at this is the echelon for me, and I'm a risk. So I said, okay, what do I need to do? And they said, stop. Stop tweeting. Stop writing. Stop having any kind of creative outlet in public. Stop talking to people who could be in the media. Stop. So I stopped. I stopped all of it. And in the intervening year and a half or so, I stopped being myself. My first marriage fell apart. It crumbled. 14 years down the drain. I can't just blame the job, but it was hard and it was stressful. I got sick. My kid got sick. We were stressed. And in the end, there's a few corporate folks in here, I'm sure, we had one of those lovely, lovely things where we restructured. At the time, I was restructured out and my soul was crushed. I spent 2 days, I am a teetotal, I spent 2 days drinking 1% beer and feeling sorry for myself. I don't think I was drunk, but I was really sorry and at the bottom. My now wife picked me up and she said, I think we need to go see somebody. If it wasn't for her, the game that I'd played, the game that I'd been a willing participant in, would have won. But instead, I went and spent almost all of my next paycheck for the next year on therapy, long-lived millennial breakdowns. And I worked through who I was and who I wanted to be. When I started to find purpose for myself and I started to find beauty in the world again, I started to see purpose and I started to see beauty. I started to realize that there were big, gigantor, global companies out there that were doing the right thing. They weren't putting people in boxes. They weren't counting head counts. They were counting heart counts. I looked at businesses like Nike and Patagonia and the way that their people from all different places could share and talk and create and curate information any way they wanted to. I felt like I knew the beating heart of these businesses more than I knew the beating heart of small businesses right here in New Zealand. As I moved on and started to find other people that really, really inspired me, I met a woman called Miri Rodriguez. I don't know if you guys know Miri Rodriguez. She speaks all over the world. She's a human ray of sunshine. She's a storyteller. She is a digital evangelist. She's a mama. She's a feminist. She is everything that most of us would love to be and love to be friends with. Miri also happens to work for Microsoft. I mean, I left California 17 years ago, but when I think Microsoft today, I think of a big, boating business, foreboding business. I don't think of humans, and that wasn't until I met Miri. Because through getting to know her and through her stories, I've seen firsthand how Microsoft invests in her. She's written a book, she's gone back to school, and at every part of her journey, Microsoft was there. The people of the business were there saying, hey, the better a person Miri is, the more comfortable she is in her skin. And let me tell you, this woman will dance on tables. She doesn't even need tequila. The better she is and the more comfortable she is and the more at home she is being vulnerable, the better Microsoft is. So I have a much different view of that business. Another business in Portland called Wild Fang. So the fang of a wolf and the wildness of our souls kind of put together is co-founded and CEO'd, led by a woman called Emma McElroy. If you don't know who she is, after tonight, look her up. She is a badass. In a word, a badass. She and a friend were out shopping one day and realized that there weren't any clothes for women and non-binary people who wanted to dress in a more kind of masculine, formal, buttoned-up way. So she created Wild Fang. But at the heart of her brand wasn't just the insight that women wanted to walk through the world comfortably, but that activism mattered more now than ever. So whether somebody in her business is a cashier or they sit next to her in a boardroom table, she extrapolates out kindness and activism at scale. She allows people to shout and holler when they need to or whisper and cry, and I just think that's the most beautiful way of doing business. We must change the way we do business. The world has never been more connected. We can't log off, yet we're so disconnected from who we are. Who's booked a trip to Bali to go find their inner chakras? I have not, but I'd love to. There's nothing more satisfying than not having Wi-Fi, but then, oh my God, there's no Wi-Fi. The fear of 10 minutes away from your phone and 80 new emails is real. We are stressed. We're dying from the stress. We're medicated because we're depressed. It's hard to be alive and to be positive right now in the working culture we have, which is why I wanted to talk about work-life balance. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what it means because I think we all know. We've read the 6 million Google hits and we understand. It's something that we're told we need to aspire to. I think work-life balance in and of itself is at best an illusion and at worst it's a bad fallacy. I call bullshit on work-life balance. I believe in something, and I hope you do too, that's more like life balance. We could probably just call it life or balance, but let's call it life balance. I don't know about you, but I've got 24 hours in the day, and that's it. I don't start and end at the threshold of my office building. I don't drop my kid off at school singing at the top of our lungs to park in a parking lot and walk through doors and become staid and quiet and shrinking and small. I'm really lucky that I work in a business right now where I can walk in rocking double denim, a backwards ball cap, big Superman socks, and have rainbows blaring, and people still let me sit at the table. They make space and they say, Cass, tell me more. It's on all of us these days, not just to find who we want to be, but to go back to who we were. In the beginning, when a nudie run on the beach wasn't anything we worried about. We just wanted the sun on our skin and to feel the salt water on our toes. It's time for all of us to take note and to take stock and to really understand who it is that you are and who you've always been. I know with me right here, the little slugger, man, I put her aside for 20 years. I can remember my mom and we got pretty drunk in California the last time we were together. It's a story for another TED Talk. But Mom, after her 7th tequila, said to me, Cass, I lost you for 18 years. I lost you, but you're back. And I hope and pray for all of us in this room that there'll be a time where if you feel like you've lost yourself, if you feel you can't be who you are, you come back. I hope you find your little slugger. I hope she swings for the goddamn fences, and I know you'll connect. Thank you.